Hello friends, good evening. All right, I guess we'll just dive right into it. First of all, also I hope everyone's been having a good week. It seems like it should be Friday, but it is Tuesday evening, so that's fun. But I hope you're having a good week. Okay, so as I was reading through the prompt, there were a few things that I thought of. One of them, so the first thing, if we want to like dive back into like traditionally how people with special needs may or may not have been portrayed in not social media, but like pop culture or just common culture really, there were two things that popped into my mind. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. If you haven't read that play, you should. It is incredible and addresses specifically mental special needs, and it's very intense and moving, and I won't like give you the summary, but if you haven't read it, it's a quick read, maybe like 30 minutes. It's really, really good. Also, another thing that I thought of is Of Mice and Men and the character Lenny, because I thought of it because we are teaching it in my practicum right now to our juniors, and so the character Lenny, he is mentally, he has there's all this new not jargon, but there's like the correct language that we learned in class on Saturday, and I'm trying to like remember all the good stuff, and I'm rambling too, so very sorry. But he is mentally disabled, and we never really learn why or what specifically it is, but we know that he is. And in the book, he's portrayed, like the only accurate word I have for it in my mind is he's portrayed as animalistic, which, jumping ahead to today, I don't think we see that anymore, thank goodness. So I'm thinking about, like, I remember in high school watching Glee, and we have, what is his name, like, Arnie maybe, who was the character who was in the wheelchair, and I think for the most part he was portrayed like he was not as able-bodied perhaps as like people who could very easily get up and walk around on 2 feet, but he wasn't hindered either. He went and did show choir and rolled around high school all day, which it seemed to be a pretty accessible high school. So I think for the most part he was portrayed pretty well. He was a very like well-rounded character. And then I thought about like how on Instagram there are influencers and models that you'll see now who have Down syndrome. They're promoters, just showing that like we have reached, or not everyone, but many people have reached a point where it's not like, oh, it's a big, like, it's still great to put girls and guys who have Down syndrome as like influencers and allow them to do that if that's what they want, but I think it's no longer like, oh my gosh, look at the girl with Down syndrome. It's just like, look at this beautiful model who happens to have Down syndrome. So I know that like those influencers are on like places like Instagram and things like that. What else was I thinking of? Like you see like the stickers all over the place with like the puzzles, like for autism, the puzzle pieces, and like there's bumper stickers, there's necklaces, there's everything, and people just like being very open and aware about it and talking about it. So I think the really brief synopsis of this very long video now is that even like 50 years ago, we were putting people with mental disabilities into institutions. Like maybe like 70 years ago, lobotomies were still happening, like all this really not great, horrible stuff was happening, and now we see representation on TV. And I know I'm only talking about the positive stuff here. Like I'm very aware that there are like in Anchorman, Steve Carell's character He is, what's his name? It's Brick. Yeah, Brick is the character, and he, like, it's a funny movie. It's a comedy, but it's also made very clear that Brick is a mentally disabled person. And it's like, it's some dark humor. And it's one of those lines of like, is this okay? Is this something where you will see guys walking around like, it's just a joke, like, can't you take a joke? Or is it something that's like, maybe not okay? I don't have an answer to that, maybe because I'm a little bit one of those guys who's like, can't you just take a joke? But it does make me a little uncomfy, but I'm also used to it, and maybe that's like obviously that's one of the points of being here, is to challenge those things that you're used to. So that would be something that I'd be interested if any of you have comments on that. Okay, I'm wrapping up the video. I'm so sorry. So we've moved from a place where we don't talk about it, where really bad things are happening, to those who are mentally disabled. FDR didn't want people to know he was physically disabled because of his polio, so like he did a lot of things to let the country, to keep that from the country, to now where we see them on big Instagram platforms, TV shows, just everywhere, and it's something people talk about, something that's been smoothly integrated into schools for the most part, and society, and like it's I mean, like, harkening back to the multicultural ed class that we're all in right now, it's a facet of our society and our various cultures. So sorry that was so long. It was a little ranty, but share your thoughts. Have a good night.